Now this is my third video, friends, and in this video you will find that I have made certain changes, like I have changed the image. So I introduced a new picture. This is my old picture, and this I remove it from here because this one was downloaded from somewhere, so delete anyway. And then I need this image as the background image for all my application. So now you can see this is my layout login. Now this is, I just changed the background, nothing, everything is same, only the background image which was something, I now made it as everything. I haven't made any changes to anything, just I changed this background drawable on the top. You can see this one, Android drawable, and the image name is ed banner. This image, yes, now you see I have enlarged it so that you can see it nicely. Everything is just as it is, so that you can have a better look because application. Now same thing I have done for login activity also. Now you see everything is same, only this background image has been changed. And now let's see. So this is my welcome activity, and there you see this is my main.xml. There also I have made changes. Inside this one change I made is that I had one image view, so I did not remove this image view from its position, otherwise I could have required to make changes. So I just made it as a text view. So I see I just ID I did not change, I just simply made it as a text view without any text. So it did not do anything, it is just present, but it is kind of useless. So when you run the application you will not find that any image is there. So now I think this is looking much more prettier and clean, and at least we can say that this image is ours, we are not using others images. So this is how the whole thing looks. This is my welcome activity. It comes and then it simply goes after 5 seconds. This is the login activity. There you enter, and then if you click on the sign up button, then this sign up activity is coming now. Now this is what we have done till the previous video, part 2. And in this video till now I have only changed the background images. So now I only want to see that when the user enters into the system, then he needs to be checked whether he has already registered or not. So for that I need to go into my database helper, and then there I'll create one function, and that function's job is to, like, every time the user or anyone tries to log in, then we have to check it whether that person is the new user or it is already a member. And every time for that we have to fetch all the data from the database, and then we have to compare the email IDs with the entered email IDs so that we can say whether it is registered or not. So for that let me create one function in my database helper. I'm naming it as a public cursor get all customers. So this one will return all the name of the customers. For that I have to create the object of SqliteDatabase, and then there I'll take the this dot get readable database, because we are just trying to read it, we are not trying to write anything into the database. So this is what it is, and then I'll create the object of cursor. So this cursor equal to new cursor, or with the help of SqliteDatabase you fetch the SqliteDatabase dot raw query, and then in the raw query I'll provide the thing like select asterisk from customer, but we'll not use the word customer because we are using a text called as table underscore name, and that is our customer. So select asterisk from, and then append or concatenate the table name, provide the null for this value, and then the function will return the whole cursor. Okay, now there is selection argument, I made it as null. So this part is done here. Now I'll go into this my main activity, but I have to go into the login activity, not into the main activity. So in the login activity, I will simply create the object of this type. So first I have to create the object for this one, and then I create one function called is the check it all. Means it will check the image, it will check the email ID and the password. So if you just write it neither, it's not made, I'm going to make it. So now check it all. So now just click on this red bulb and they say create a method inside the login activity. So this is where I have, you could have done directly like creating a private void check it all. So now inside this I will be calling that function call as get all customer, and that customer will give me the cursor. It is a tabulated form where the cursor will be pointing to each and every row, and then we can fetch the element. Let's see how. So first let me create the object of my database helper. So this is my database helper and the database helper. So object has been created. Let me initialize this object with the help of database helper equal to new my database helper and then pass this. So this is done. Then I come back into this one, and then with the help of that database objects, so database helper dot get all customers. So this function will return a cursor pointing, or you can say in kind of tabular form, where all the informations from that table will come, and then will run the like if the cursor is already having something. So if cursor dot get count is equal to 0, means the cursor dot get count is 0, it means it hasn't got anything from the database, or you can say the database or the table is empty kind of. So you can run a toast here, and you can say that the toast dot make text get application context and then the message, and then you can write that the empty database, and there you can write after this comma and toast dot length long, and yes, toast dot length long, and then write dot show. Okay, so this get application context, sometimes it doesn't work, so you can use word this also, or you can write the login activity dot this. Okay, so if get dot count is not 0, then it means the cursor has some element to it. So let me make some changes here. This is make text. I might have taken the wrong one, that's why I got this one, and get application context. So toast dot length long and show. So okay, so I use this, and then I'll use database no data, and then toast dot length long, then bracket parenthesis close, and then show. Yes, so only I had to remove it by this. If it fails, like if the cursor dot count is not equal to 0, it means definitely it has got some elements. So we have to fetch, because it may have the large number of tabular forms. So we'll write like while cursor dot move to next, means as long as there are some indices or indexes to move to next, you just carry on here, and then I have to fetch the email ID. So you know that the first column we made it as ID, that is 0, and then name as 1, and then mobile as 2, and then email as 3 and the password as 4. So we can write like edmail equal to this is not appropriate to use the edit mail here. I simply write cursor dot get string, and then you pass the column ID, which is I'm going to pass as 3, because my 0 is the customer ID or ID, and the 1 is the name of the customer, 2 is the mobile of the customer. This is way I have entered data. So 3 will represent the email ID and the 4 will represent the password. So this particular email ID from the table dot equals to what the user has entered, which is present in the edmail dot get text dot to string, and at the same time you can trim it also to remove the text from the empty text from the beginning and end, some white spaces. So just call the function trim. So now this one is I'm comparing one string what the user has entered, that is the edmail.getText, and the one what I have fetched from the table. It means that I am comparing the email entered by the user with the email I have got it from the each and every one, and wherever I find that this is true, I need to break the loop. I do not want the loop to continue. So for that I'll take one boolean variable, and that is I make it as false. So when the element is found, then this answer will become true. So I have taken one boolean value, by default it is false, and when this cursor dot get string from the row and then equals to the what the user has entered, means if email matches, then the answer will become true and the loop will stop it there. Then I simply go for, once it is done, then the function should return a boolean value. So now I make some changes. Return type becomes boolean, and then I will return the return answer. But here the critical part is there, that it's returning from 3 instances. Here when suppose data is not found, like that get count is 0, then also it will stop. So now here I need to make changes. I take again this one, if okay, then from here I am passing the edmail dot get string. Now see, this is called the dynamic programming. I am doing everything dynamically, and to this is trim, and then I'll pass this email ID and this email ID, but the function I haven't defined that way. So here I have to make arrangement like string test mail or anything you can write, because it should be different, like test mail, like I'm testing the mail, any variable it should suggest that is mail. So now this line becomes useless, and then I can write that the place of all these things I write equals test mail. Yes, so whatever user has entered, I have collected it from the those find view by ID and storing it in the edmail, and then from there I passed it to this function just to check it. Now I run the toast if it is true, because if, then the argument of the if will be either true or false, because check it all function is going to return you either true or false. So if it is true, means if the email has been found or one such instance, then it will run a toast and say that email ID is already present, and then this is done. Else you can say that this, okay, so now here I can again use get application context. So okay, no problem with that. So one extra bracket I need here. Okay, so this is done. Now what will happen if it is false, means okay, now I think it's time to just run and check how it's all working. So I have entered one name as okay, so will it be better, I think that if I enter one email ID and I remember that what I'm entering it, so this is, yeah, first let me enter one and I'll remember what I'm entering. You also remember to this, so I write one, now this is the name I have entered, then a random number as a mobile number, and only you need to remember the password what you are entering so that you can understand whether it's matching or not. So I write it as okay, Ganga Pandey @gmail.com, and then I simply go and write a random password, because for us right now only the email ID is important. This is Ganga Pandey @email ID. So now I just sign up. It means this is registered into this, inserted, and it works. I have already tested it also. So now here I see is asking this, no, saving. Now here I entered the email ID. Okay, so this is not the hint, this is the text, so you have to remove it. So I write Ganga Pandey gmail.com, and then any random thing, because we are not checking password, we'll do it later, we will make everything proper. So email already present, so it means our function and our mechanism is working perfectly fine. Now what I'm trying to say that, look at this check it all function. So there are case number one, when the cursor is getting get count equal to 0, then what will happen? But now after this here I'm combining the password also. So because email and with the password attached with that particular, because you see that in SQLite the things are represented in a tabular form, so in one row you have the email ID and the corresponding password. So now the column 4, because so now here also I need to make one object for the password. Now I am changing the check it all function so that the user from the there it will pass both the email ID at the same time the password. So I write here same way ed pass. This is just little raw. I could have collected the information in some other variable and passed it, but that's also fine. Then edpass dot get text dot toString, and then I use trim function. So now I'm passing these two things and these two things will be checked. Okay, I'll make further changes to the function. So stay now if it is present there, then like if both email and the password matches, then we will say that welcome to the system. Like this may also happen that the email is present but the password is not matching. In that condition we can say that the user might have forgotten and we can offer the user that whether he wants to make some changes into the password or something like that. That is also possible. So now I'm running the application. Now see how it all looks. So this is fine. Then again I use sign up function to enter another one. Now this time I'll make another name, and this is I named the Adya Pandey, and then I entered a random number. Better I just make it as this is mobile number. Sorry, this looks because people are comfortable taking the mobile number the way it should be. So I simply write 9800054321. This is a random number. It's not my phone or anyone's phone. I do not know whether it's anyone's or not, but these are not my phone numbers. I'm just writing a 10-digit number starting with 98, and so that I can remember it also. So the email ID I have entered as Gmail. Now pay attention. I'm entering this password for you, and so that you can also match it, I'm writing 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So the password is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Now here I enter. So it says inserted, means this entry has been inserted into the database. Now I try to log in. No saving please. And then I try to log in. Then I write Adya Pandey @ gmail.com, and then there I write password 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Now, so both are correct. Now what say? Welcome to the system. Means the function have checked both email and the password, and now have found that it was matching, so it has allowed it. Now I'm entering the wrong password, so now you see what you'll get. Nothing, but you cannot get in. I click the button because I haven't made any code for there, but it is not letting you get into the system. Beautiful. So now again I go and try to make certain changes, like suppose the check mail can return many possibilities. If it is more than many, then I instead, because the boolean return type can only return true or false. So now here I make certain changes here also, like else if, like if email ID is matching but the password is not matching. So in that condition we can say that the user's email ID is already registered but he is entering with another password. So the system may prompt that you have entered wrong password, and that will be quite appropriate because we cannot let the wrong person to enter into our system. At least whatever precaution we can do, we'll take that. So first I will use, because this equals dot equals gives you a boolean value, so simply use exclamation sign to negate it. So I write that, just to see two brackets and then the exclamation means the negation, and you know that if a boolean value is negated, it becomes true becomes false and the false become true. So it means that if it is, this is false, if it matches, if now, and then the same thing I do for the email also. Because password matching I don't think will make any difference to the health. I should do the same thing for the email ID, not for password. Okay, then if anything, okay, now remember that only the negation is done for the password, not for the, like the, if the email ID is matching but the password is not matching. So in that condition I'll simply run the toast and I'll say that please enter, or you can say the wrong password, kind of. This one will be appropriate. So I'm just, this function will definitely in the next video will have the much different look, because there are many possibilities, like the email IDs, both email IDs are not matching, or both are matching, one is matching, other is not matching, or even the cursor is returning you the get count value, but this function is having the return type as boolean, can only return either true or false. But what if we have the more situations, then better we'll just try to achieve it using integer values, like and then there later there I can use the switch statements in that function. So now first here also it is true, and then cursor dot get string dot equals, and cursor dot get string dot equals test pass. If it is true, that if it is not matching, then the answer is true. But now the complication is coming, because in the first previous there also it is returning true and here also it is returning true, then the system will be quite confused that who to let in and who not to let in. So we need to work on the better mechanism for that, and the logic should be that I use int as the return type, and okay, so now Okay, this is also fine. Everywhere it's fine. Let me check it thoroughly. Yes, so better I make it as int, and then because I can return many values like the 1 2 3 4 like that. So this I try to, because when toast is like when cursor dot get count equal to 0, it will return -1. This is what I plan. You can make it your way also, but everything is possible. Now here I'll say return 1, and then here in this case I'll say return 2, because it's okay. First I let answer equal to 1. Okay, because okay, so I need to make it as int. So int answer equal to -1, and then I set, because when this is setting then the answer will become 1, and here I can set answer as 2. So answer can have the 1 2 3 4 -1 different values, and only one instance will be true. So later we can check that which one is the correct option. So again here I can't use this one, so I simply need to store it in an integer value. So int x equal to check it all, and then I remove this extra bracket and put the semicolon, because this becomes a normal Java statement. Now I'll use the switch case to analyze what x contains. So I'll write switch and then x, and then there inside this I'll write the case values. So the case 1, and then there I'll write, like, if case 1 means this is fine, welcome to the system, and yes, let me put it in the curly bracket. Don't worry, it looks some red lines, but everything will be fine. And a good application developer should have the confidence in his abilities, and this is how, because real life applications are different. So first okay, because in the Java, after the cases you have to put the break. If you haven't done Java properly, you can watch my playlist, the Java tutorials. Lot of things I have done with Java, lot of videos. So again I just try to copy and paste it, because in case 2 we can say the password did not match. So that is the case 2 condition. So this is case 2, wrong password. And then I can go for case by default value. So I can write default. So by default only one option is left, that is -1. So we can, or because if this function is going to return, it will be saying the database is empty. Okay, and we know that our database is not empty. So these are just precautionary measures. So now all the red signs has gone. Now let me run the application and test what have we achieved so far. So emulator is running and our heartbeat is increasing just to check, because once you get wrong then the video will become flawed. Anyway, hope it is not the case here. So let it come, and then here this is the splash screen or the welcome screen. Then I have my login. Then I try to log in with okay, let me remove this and then write Adya Pandey, because that password 1234567 we remember. So Adya Pandey and @ gmail.com, and there I write the password. First let me write the correct one, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and check login. Database is empty. This is wrong, so some silly thing have happened. Oh, I think that integer values default one is causing the database is empty means default is running. Oh, here is the problem. Then I need to write one entry for the case, and then here this should not be the single quote, this should be just like a normal one, just like the case 2. So I remove this, because I know that this is the case -1, so I think this one will be sufficient, because case -1 is not going to true. We have entered so many entries into this. These are called error because it is just like a precautionary measures. When you are opening a file, then you may not be sure that you can get all the values, and same way when you are fetching the data from the database, then you may not be sure until you get it. That's why these precautions are called the exceptions of the Java. This we'll discuss in the next other videos. So now first I try to enter my email ID adyapande@gmail.com, and then here it is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. At least -1 default will not be getting. So now here, yes, welcome to the system. This is working nicely. Let me change the password and check whether it's letting me enter. So I entered some random numbers wrong, so it says wrong password. So now till now it's doing perfect. Thank you very much, friends. Subscribe, keep watching. In the next video we'll do work on the regular expression and the validation of what the user is entering. Thank you.